Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something that really runs the market from behind the scenes: corporate announcements. We're talking about those official statements that can literally make or break fortunes in an instant. We're going to show you exactly how it all works. You've seen this happen, right? You're watching a stock and suddenly the price just rockets up or completely tanks, and it seems to come out of absolutely nowhere. But what if I told you that most of the time, that chaos isn't random at all? It actually starts with a single message. Yep, that's it. The answer is almost always one of these: a corporate announcement. It's the official spark that can ignite these massive market movements. It's the reason for that sudden, dramatic shift you just saw. And honestly, the best way to get your head around this is to think of them like the official town crier of the financial world. You know, back in the day, one person would shout the big news so that everybody in the town heard it at the exact same time. Well, that's what these announcements do, just for the entire global market. All right, so let's get right into it. What are these things, really? What makes them the official voice of a company? You know, at its heart, it all comes down to one simple idea: fairness. A corporate announcement is an official, legally binding statement that makes sure everyone, and I mean everyone, from a giant Wall Street firm to you sitting at home, gets the most critical information at the exact same moment. No head starts, no insider secrets. And the kind of news we're talking about here is, well, it's a huge range. It could be the routine stuff, like quarterly financial results, or it could be massive, game-changing events. Think big mergers, a surprise CEO change, or even a sudden regulatory issue. It's basically the company's official story being told piece by piece. Okay, so now let's get into the rules of the game, because without some really strict rules, this whole idea of fairness, well, it would just completely collapse. And this right here is the absolute main goal. The whole system is designed to prevent one thing: insider trading. It's there to stop a handful of people with secret information from getting an unfair advantage. It's all about creating a level playing field. So as you can see, these announcements serve some really critical functions. First, it's a legal duty. Companies have to do this. It also kills wild speculation, because it replaces rumors with cold, hard facts. And it gives regulators a clear view into what's going on, which, at the end of the day, is all about protecting investors like you and me. All right, so we've got the what and the why down, but what about the how? How does a decision made in a private boardroom end up on your phone's trading app in literally seconds? Let's follow that journey. Well, it's this incredibly precise four-step dance. First, management makes a decision. Then, step 2, the legal and compliance teams go over every single word with a fine-tooth comb. Once it's authorized, it's published through secure systems to the regulators, and finally, boom, it's sent out to the public through newswires and websites, all in the blink of an eye. And you have to understand, this entire chain is riding on super secure, super reliable IT systems. They have to be basically bulletproof, because a leak or even a delay of a single second, that's not just a tech problem. That's a massive violation that comes with some seriously heavy penalties. Now, look, a lot of these announcements are pretty straightforward, right? A new CEO is hired, for instance, but some of them are the final result of some seriously complex number crunching that goes on behind the scenes. Just take a look here. When a company announces a dividend payment, that's not a random number. It's calculated, usually the net profit divided by the number of shares. A stock split, that's just multiplication. And those really important financial results, like earnings per share, that all comes from deep inside the company's financial data. It's a perfect example of how raw data ends up driving huge market news. Okay, so we followed the journey from the boardroom to the public, but what happens in that split second when it actually goes live? Well, that's when we see the ripple effect. The second that announcement hits the wires, its impact explodes in two directions at the exact same time. It goes outward into the market, and it goes inward, kicking off a whole bunch of processes inside the company itself. The impact on the market, well, that's the stuff you see on the news. The stock price immediately reacts. Investor trust is either built up or shattered in an instant. And for big events like a stock split, the actual trading systems that run the market have to update their own data. The effects are immediate, and they are real. But what's maybe even more interesting is what happens inside the company. For them, the announcement is just the starting gun.
If they announce a dividend, that triggers the internal IT systems that have to actually calculate and send those payments to potentially millions of shareholders. It means updating all their compliance software, and it demands a perfect auditable trail for every single number they just made public. And really, that brings us to the single most important takeaway here. These announcements aren't just news updates. As the source material puts it so well, they are the driving force behind changes in the market. They are the engine. They are what makes the financial world turn. So that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. In a world where information moves at the speed of light, how does this system need to change and evolve to make sure the market stays fair for everybody? It's definitely something worth considering. Thanks for tuning in.